should anybody put any effort into building their personal brand right now when there is so many other things that we could be busy with?
Let me answer that on two levels. On Thursday, when we had initially scheduled this, I was going to start out by saying that the competition is so fierce right now. 22 million people have applied for unemployment. But on Friday, the new unemployment numbers came out, and I don't know if you can see this USA Today headline, but it's now 26 million people have applied for unemployment. So the first answer is there is fierce competition out there in the job world. Um, one of the top Vegas headhunters said last week, or maybe a week before last, said that of the jobs he was representing before the quarantine, he believes that half of them won't exist when the quarantine's lifted. So it's a highly competitive world out there. On the business side of it, there are 473 casinos in the United States today. There are 160 slot machine companies. And so, again, competition is out there. I grew up in a time where we were told, and I believed, that if you work hard, you'll get to the top, you'll get ahead. I found out that's not exactly true. No matter how hard you work, that's not exactly how it works. It needs to be who knows you. Not necessarily who you know, as a lot of people say, but who knows you. It's all about your brand recognition. And that's why it's important. People need to know who you are.
Absolutely. And so many people that I have worked with don't really know, and they're not doing it on purpose, how they are probably diminishing their brand by showing up incorrectly, virtually and face to face. So they diminish trust and credibility in their brand. And in that way, they don't even see the opportunities when they're right in front of them. All right. So I want to ask you, Gary, what steps now can our listeners take to make and elevate their brand and make them stand out from the rest, from all this competition that there is out there?
So what you need to do is target who you want to reach with your brand. Your brand, whatever it is, I mean, it's not going to be as over the top as mine is, but it's going to reflect you. But who do you want to be reflected to? It's not going to appeal to the universe. So who do you want to reach? That's the very first thing you can do. Gauge who your target is. Determine who you want to reach. Do that research.
So what you're saying, Gary, is recapping on that, is do your due diligence. And what a lot of people don't use enough is you have the number one research analyst in the world working for you for free. His name, her name is Google. So find out who are those decision makers that you need to make an impact on, that you need to be memorable for, and put Google alerts on their names. So whenever their name comes up on an article, on a post, etc., you'll be able to know. And in that way, you can reach out to them next, also through LinkedIn, which is the best kept secret in the world. And I know many of you here are on LinkedIn, but unfortunately, you're not using it 100% correctly. So go to that decision maker's activity on his LinkedIn page, even if you're not the first connection. And remember, I believe you first have to date somebody on LinkedIn before you ask them to marry you. So don't just send an invitation out of the blue. I get about 50 a day, and most of them I don't accept. You need to be very careful who you accept into your network, not all and sundry. And what you need to do is follow that person's activity. You need to like that person. It brings up the serotonin. Do you know every like that people get online brings up the serotonin in their body? And what I wanted to also say with that is also make comments. Very few people make comments on somebody's post and even reshare if you think it's valuable enough. So what you're doing is you are putting yourself in that person's radar. So when you do reach out with a very customized invitation, by the way, when you reach out to them on LinkedIn, they already know who you are, but you have to go one step back. They're going to go and look at your profile. And if that doesn't look memorable, and if that person says, this is somebody that I want to have in my network, then you've already lost that contact. So get that profile right and going. All right, so Gary, what will be the second step that we can make sure our brand stands out? What is the second step we can take?
The next thing people need to do is understand, and then establish your differentiator. What makes you different? I mean, clearly the thing about me, and you can tell this from watching me for 2 minutes if you didn't know me already, I'm an over-the-top guy. I'm out there. I'm in your face. I'm over the top. Not everybody is like that. Not everybody wants to be like that, and I don't blame you. But everyone has a specialty. You just have to determine what's your specialty, what's your mission, what's your specialty, a science to everything. Now, I can't tell you, people that are in this room here individually, what's your specialty? That's the question you have to answer. I can tell you that in Hades' book, there's a great chapter in there and a series of things you go through to help identify your brand so you know what it is. But that next step is you have to figure out your specialty, because that'll define what your brand is.
So really it's about finding your unique point of difference. Unique stands for unlike any other. And I want to ask you very quickly, we live in what I call this review world. We're always on Yelp or TripAdvisor. I want to ask you right now, if you had to give yourself stars for marketing and positioning and how you define your brand right now to the outside world, would you give yourself 1, I suck at it, or 5, I'm a rock star, or the ones in between? Because you see, before you can brand yourself, you need to understand yourself. And companies worldwide, and your organization as well, or the one you were working for, spend millions of dollars behind R&D. When last did you do research and development on your brand? So how you're being perceived and received right now is incredibly important. Gary, what is the next step to make sure our brand stands out?
What is the value proposition? What is it that you bring in value with that brand to the target that we've identified through our research already? And again, Heidi, I'm gonna turn again to the training exercises in your book and what you do, because you help people understand what is that value that brand brings. Researching and understanding your value proposition is the most important third step in this process after the research. Related to that, you want to talk about what is the message or the voice of that brand. Once you've defined that, then the fifth thing, and I guess in this series, the last thing that you need to do, integrate this brand into everything you do, into every aspect of your business. Don't send mixed messages. If you're going to be the Bellagio, don't also try to be the Excalibur. Send one message for your brand to keep that message constant
and clear, because a clarity in a brand message instills trust in people. I want to really thank Gary. Gary, thank you for all your entertaining stories, and thank you for preparing some wonderful points for us.
Thank you.
Thank you to